Welcome to Storytime at the Rubus, a sometimes weekly podcast about the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. I'm your host, Sharla.
And I'm Daniel. And yeah, we're kind of bi-weekly for now. I think we'll go back to weekly probably, around Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe even New Year's. There isn't a lot to talk about when it comes to Roo right now, but we'll have more to talk about relatively soon when they start doing like pre-sales and the date announcement. We can talk about that in a moment, but how have you been doing, Charles?
I've been doing great. How about you, Daniel?
I'm good. What's been up for you besides work stuff?
Oh, my goodness. Well, we have been working really hard on the new nonprofit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we can go ahead and talk about that. I was kind of saving that for later in the show, but since you brought it up, I think it's great to talk about that at the top. So there actually is a lot of progress going.
There actually is, yes.
I had a good talk with our buddy Brad, our accountant, and General Muckraiser here in Huntsville last night. That was fun. By the way, shout out to everybody that came out to hang out with me for my birthday. That was cool. But Brad and I talked about what we need to get done for the nonprofit last night before everybody got there. And we're pretty well along the way. We've got kind of like a charter written out, an outline. We've got a couple of things to do. We've got to finalize the name. I don't want to say what the new name may be because I don't want to jinx it and it's not finalized yet. But shout out to our buddy JB on the Discord who gave us a fantastic idea that I think we might be going with. And I believe we might be able to potentially announce it when we have your event. Do you want to tell everybody about that?
Yes, absolutely. So Friday, October the 13th, starting at 6 p.m., we are going to be having a kickoff fundraising event. It's going to be here in Huntsville. It's going to be at Madison Tap Room, which is located on Highway 72. You can just Google Madison Tap Room. They are a phenomenal, locally owned small business. It's a very tiny place and like a little strip mall, and they serve regional, national, and local craft brews, and they're just such a fun family-owned business. We've been going there for years and years and years.
Well, it used to be something else.
Yeah, and they bought it out from that company. But anyways, they are so super kind, and they're allowing us to just have this fundraiser. And what it's going to be basically is just kind of a kickoff and let people come in and see what we're all about and see what we're doing and just kind of find out what the Rubus Foundation, named to be determined, what we are all about and what we're going to do for live music, because we believe that everyone deserves to hear live music.
Yeah, I love that little tagline that you made up in that first little graphic with Chloe in it. That was really cool.
Right, because everyone deserves to experience live music, or so, that's what we believe.
If you missed it, we talked about this about a month ago with everything that we intend to do with this. And I will be honest, this event that we're putting on Friday the 13th, that's kind of creepy, is kind of like also just a Roo get-together. So if you are, I'm sorry, I'm distracted because Ricky the cat has the zoomies right now.
Yes, he bumped into the table, sorry.
It's okay, I'm keeping this in. I'm not editing this. If you are in the area, please plan on coming down 6 o'clock that Friday the 13th, Madison Tap Room on Highway 72 in Madison, Alabama. It's just about, 15 minutes away from our house. And if, hey, you're in the area, you want to sign the bus, you can come over here and visit us after the fact. I would love that. We'll plug it in and give you the tour that night if you'd like. So, again, Friday the 13th of October, 6 p.m., Madison Tap Room. And if you're in the area, go visit them anyways. They do trivia on, Friday nights, I think?
They do trivia on Saturday nights. And Thursday, they have bingo.
Oh, we haven't gone to that yet. We should try that out. But anyways, come see us that Friday. Sharla has put a couple of cool graphics on our social stuff. And she has also been slowly rebuilding our website and social media presence to kind of start focusing on what the nonprofit is going to be. And also on that note, we have started to put together kind of the forms and stuff for the mentorship program and the scholarship program. I expect that we're probably going to make that public and start accepting applications late October, so maybe right after we do that kickoff event here, right?
Yes, that'd be fantastic.
I think we can make that happen.
That's a great date.
And I think we eventually want to have similar events in Nashville and Atlanta, right?
Right. We actually have one of our Patreons, Sam, who's helping us find a location in Nashville to do something.
Ooh, that sounds good. So more information to come on that. That'll be fun. There's a lot of Ruvians in the Nashville area. We need to hang out with them more. We're usually seeing the Atlanta Ruvians. Oh, by the way, shout out to them. I know we've had a lot of friends having fun at Dragon Con over there in downtown Atlanta this past weekend. Maddie has been living it up in all of his different costumes. Have you been seeing those pictures?
Yes.
I miss Dragon Con. I would like to go back sometime. I mean, we're going to be talking about Burning Man here in a few moments. I think that's the plan for next year, but maybe the year after next we can do Dragon Con again.
That'd be good.
Please, that would be fun. I would like to do the whole experience over there and like get a host hotel. I mean, I know it's pricey, but man, it looks so much fun. They rave over there just as hard as we do at Bonnaroo sometimes.
Goodness, yes.
Yeah, it's a whole different kind of crowd, but it's just as fun, I think. We'll try it out. But anyways, as we have alluded to, I think the big topic that we were going to talk about for this episode was what has been going down at Burning Man this past week, right?
Drowning Man.
Drowning Man? Yeah, so let me preface this for anybody that just started listening in the past like 9 months or so, or around this year's Bonnaroo. Sharla and I fulfilled a big bucket list thing, and we went to Burning Man this time last year. We had a fantastic time. It was uneventful compared to this year because the weather was pretty hot, but it wasn't, what it is this time with the giant storm and everything. Everything was great for us. We had a great road trip out there, met a ton of new friends, had a lot of great experiences when we were there, and made it back, and we saw a couple of Ruvian friends along the way. That was a lot of fun. We originally thought that we would go this year and not last year, and man, I'm very blessed and lucky that things worked out the way they did, and we went last year instead.
Oh, yeah.
We have talked about how would we have handled this if we actually...
would not have handled it. We would have just had to hunker down in our
SVU, Law and Order.
SUV, Sport Utility Vehicle.
Was Stabler there? Oh my gosh. But anyways, last year we were fine. Like, we had a very primitive setup. We had a tent and a mesh canopy, and we didn't have to worry about rain. We had to worry about dust, but that's just par for the course over there. So, Charlotte, do you want to tell everybody who may have been hiding under a rock this past week what exactly happened?
So, Burning Man is held in a desert. They don't get a lot of rain there typically. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel.
Not very much at all, no.
But typically it does not rain at Burning Man or during the time of Burning Man. So they haven't gotten rain, in 9 years or something?
I have been looking at some of the conversation, and there's been a couple of rare years in which it does come a bit of rain at Burning Man, like at this very specific time of the year. I want to say just, generally speaking, it seems to happen once in a decade, maybe twice.
In general,
very rarely.
What happened this year was it rained and rained and rained. Basically, do you guys remember when Bonnaroo got canceled in 2021?
Oh, yeah.
Well, basically, what would have happened at Bonnaroo 2021, that happened at Burning Man. Except it didn't get canceled. People are there, and they're stuck in it.
Let's be clear, though. A little bit of rain at Burning Man, even under an inch, is catastrophic because it turns into a giant mud pit.
Right.
Those of you in the South will know what a mud bog is. That's basically what it turns into.
Yes.
You can get more of that at Bonnaroo, and it's okay because the farm can soak it up. You've seen the tall grass out in the campgrounds. You know how it can be a little hilly. There's slopes here and there that will catch the rain. That's not the case because it's basically a prehistoric lake bed over there in northern Nevada. There's not really anywhere for it to drain to.
Yeah.
So it just kind of pulls up there on, the playa. That's what they call it. I think, is that a scientific term? I don't know, but that's what they call it at Burning Man. And you probably have seen the pictures. It is just a ton of standing water, and it hasn't been very sunny there, so it hasn't dried up. So when people are walking around there, it's ankle deep mud in a lot of places, sometimes deeper in other places. We've been looking at the Burning Man Discord and Reddit and some of the different conversation places, like the Facebook groups like we joined last year to see how people are handling it. And oh boy, this is where we're going to get deep into this conversation. I think there have been a lot of misconceptions about what has happened at Burning Man this week. And you and I just took a walk. We took the dog for a walk. Do you want to start with what we were talking about?
Well, let me preface and say that Burning Man, you have to have somewhat of a thick skin just to go to Burning Man.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, explain that to everyone.
And there are a lot of, I should say, pranks that happen at Burning Man.
Can I tell them the example that we got pranked with?
Yes.
So there is a unofficial but kind of official music guide that gets published a
Not
week
a
or so
music
out.
guide. It's not a music guide because there's an activity guide, we should say.
Well, there's that too, but there is a music guide.
Okay, well,
there's this lady that puts it together, and it went into both publications. So Charlotte's holding like the big paper book that they hand you.
It's called What, Where, When.
Yeah, and there's also, I forget who does it, but somebody does a music guide. And anyways, in both of these publications, Rufus Du Sol was listed as playing. So you can even go back to a podcast where I was talking about this last year. I was like, oh man, this is going to be fun. Rufus Du Sol at Burning Man. I can't wait. Well, we went the night that they were supposed to be playing to the camp that they supposedly were playing at, and it didn't happen. About 1,000 people got there and waited for about 20 minutes before we all realized we were being pranked. Rufus Du Sol wasn't actually there. 90% of everybody in that crowd was like, oh, well, we got pranked. That's kind of funny. Let's find something else to do. There was 10% of the people that were genuinely unhappy about that. I feel like maybe they weren't veteran burners because, like, if you are, you would know, like, hey, there's pranks like this all the time. In fact, that's where the whole meme of Daft Punk playing the fence or whatever came from.
Right,
that whole
that's
thing
the whole
started
thing,
at Burning Man. Yeah.
Like Daft Punk playing the trash fence.
And that's just something that people do at Burning Man. They'll start these stupid rumors just to mess with everybody. It's all in good fun. So you're going to be seeing a lot of things in the news where lazy journalists have picked up these fake rumors that people have started at Burning Man. Like there was something about like, oh, there was a pandemic going around or whatever. Ebola.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody totally made that
And
up.
so I do wonder if some of this misinformation out there is coming from some of the rumors or some of the pranks out there at Burning Man.
Yeah.
I do have to wonder that a little bit.
And we're not saying like, oh, that's happening. But now that we've been there and we kind of know what the crowd is, we have to acknowledge that it's a possibility.
You have to acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge that possibility. Okay, so there has been a massive rumor out there that Burning Man has been declared a, quote, national emergency. And I'm using that in quotes, national emergency. Okay, that is completely false. A national emergency is not used for weather events. Typically, it's not used for weather events. National emergencies are used for things like the COVID pandemic. It's used for things like homeland security matters. It's used for...
Sometimes it can be weather, like a hurricane event or something like that.
No.
Really? Okay, I'm learning something new then.
Yes. Okay, so what you're thinking of is not national emergencies. You're thinking about disaster declarations.
Oh, okay.
So right now, like Hawaii, for example, like the wildfires in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's not a, quote, national emergency. That's been, President Biden has done a disaster declaration.
I got you.
For
Okay.
Hawaii, for the wildfires in Hawaii.
Okay, now I understand the
So those
difference.
are two different things. So NAR has Burning Man. NAR has President Biden did any kind of disaster declaration for Burning Man. None of that has happened. So that's, if you read that out there on Twitter, TikTok, whatever, nothing like that has happened. That's just completely false.
And something else that I want to stress too is like you're going to see a lot of stories saying that like, oh, it's a widespread disaster. It's a humanitarian crisis. From my experience dealing with a lot of burners and like having been there, I personally feel like that's overblown. And the big reason for that is Burning Man is kind of the Mount Everest of festivals. You have to be very prepared. You have to have a lot of specialized equipment. You have to have a really good mindset, not at all dissimilar from, doing Everest. I saw that as a good comparison today from a veteran burner on one of those Facebook groups.
Right.
So, yeah, they're in a sucky situation, and I feel bad for them. That really sucks to be in a giant mud pit and not have the experience that you expected. But they are there prepared for anything. Now, there are going to be a small percentage of people there that were not prepared, that are more prepared for Coachella than they are for Burning Man. They call them sparkle ponies there, by the way. I always thought that was a good nickname. But the people who are veterans, they're okay. They're bummed out that they're not getting to do everything that they thought that they were going to do. But they have plenty of supplies. They have backup plans. They have everything that they need. They just know that they're majorly inconvenienced and they have to leave a few days later than they may have planned.
Now, as far as rumors of people passing away or deaths, we obviously cannot speak on that. I did see one comment where it said someone passed away, and they were very specific about where it happened, and I kind of felt like
Yeah.
if you don't know Burning Man, you wouldn't have known this specific thing. So I don't know. So obviously we can't speak on that.
Yeah. I mean, if they're joking about like people being stuck in the mud and Ebola and stuff like
Right.
that, that's one thing. But that's not something to joke about because there are a lot of people who are worried about, friends and family that are stuck in the mud out there.
Right.
So that's not that funny.
But I'm just saying we can't speak on that. So second thing that I really want to address. So I saw a TikTok and it said, Burning Man has been declared a national emergency. And it had thousands and thousands of comments. And all the comments were so disparaging. And it was just,
gosh.
it's just rich people playground, rich people cosplaying as poor people, blah, blah, blah. Okay, neither Daniel nor I are rich. We do not have mommy and daddy money. I saw that a lot.
Oh.
Our parents did not pay for us to go, obviously. We are not rich at all in any way, shape, or form. The tickets, I mean, I'll be honest with you, they cost a little bit more than Bonnaroo tickets.
I want to say it was like $550 or somewhere in that neighborhood.
It was like $550, and then with fees, it was like maybe $700 total.
Yeah, and then you have to get a car pass. So, like, it's not that much more than you would spend to
but
go
it's
into
not like an insane amount.
Yeah.
There was a lot of comments that were saying tickets are thousands of dollars. Tickets are in the thousands.
Sometimes they are, but that's for like the people who want to guarantee a ticket and like what they call the, I think it's called the FOMO sale.
The FOMO sale,
Yeah.
yeah. So Burning Man, you can spend a lot of money or you can spend a little bit of money. You can join a group and there's group fees that you have to pay for, or you can go on your own and don't spend any money on the group fees. It really just depends on how you want to do it. But my point is, in general, not everyone there is rich. Not everyone there has parents that bought them, thousands and thousands of dollars in tickets and clothes and things like that. I mean, there's people that save up year round, just to go, and it's their one vacation for the year. And Burning Man even has scholarship programs for people to apply and get a free ticket or a reduced ticket. And there's camps that offer volunteer opportunities for you to volunteer with the camp in exchange for a ticket. So there's all sorts of ways for you to go. And my point is, not everyone there is rich.
Yeah, there's like a whole nonprofit organization that puts this whole thing together. And I know it's easy to look at these meme things or like see things go viral from influencers that go to Burning Man, but that is such a small percentage of people that actually go. I was just talking with our buddy Zach on Instagram earlier today. I would say the vast majority of people that go to Burning Man, and I'm not trying to generalize, this is just my experience, like are kind of like middle-aged, middle-class wooks from the West Coast that just want to go blow off steam for the week, honestly.
Well, I mean, Daniel and I were talking when we were taking a walk just a little bit ago, and I would say a good at least 50% of people that go, they'll never even post about it on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, talking about things that you see online, and especially it's hard if you've never been to Burning Man and all you see online are these quote unquote sparkle ponies. I mean, I hate to use that term, but you see these girls in these costumes and these young guys in these elaborate outfits and things like that. And that's just not what it is at all, truly. And that's not at all what it is. I mean, for example, Daniel and I actually parked next to a group. Yeah. And just nothing like that at all. And I guarantee you, no one in that group posted their experience on social media. I mean, maybe one thing, but
it would be like one picture of something. It'd be like, had a great time at Burning Man. See you next year.
Yes,
that was probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just they were the nicest, most genuine people that we've ever met. I mean, just like meeting someone at Bonnaroo. I mean, it was just nothing like,
Yeah. So please don't fall prey to this misconception that it's all like the rich elite out there with like their $1 million RVs. Those are there, but it's so rare to actually see them. We, for the most part, did not when we were there.
No.
So I don't like this idea like, oh, let's all make fun of these rich elites stuck in the mud. No, there's regular people like you and me that, are listening to this right now who are there, who are having a bummer time just stuck in their little block in the mud. And it sucks. And they're going to be okay. It's not a disaster. But at the same time, there's a middle ground. It's not a disaster. It's not worth making fun of them. It's just kind of a bummer situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for those of you that are kind of thinking about going one day, I wouldn't let what you're seeing from this year really discourage you. This is a rare occurrence. Like we were talking about earlier, it seems like this is a once in a decade kind of thing. The odds are actually pretty good that you're going to have a great experience there. Now, the odds are very good that it's going to be hot and dusty like it is most of the time. It's just probably not going to be the big mud bog that it is this year. And it sucks. Now, I will tell you one thing that I do think is worth making fun of and making memes of. There was a thing about Diplo and Chris Rock escaping. That turned into a meme. And that's worth making fun of. Like somebody coming in there thinking they're going to like be treated as a celebrity and then just rushing out when things go bad and not sticking around to help their neighbors. Yeah, that's not cool.
Let's make fun of that.
Not cool, Diplo. Not cool, Chris Rock. Yeah.
Something else too, Daniel mentioned seeing something about what you see online. Keep in mind, a lot of the photos that you do see online aren't even from Burning Man. I noticed that.
Oh, and by the way,
there was a viral photo going around of a Jeep stuck in the mud, not even from Burning Man. There was another one of a guy sitting in front of the porta potties, not from Burning Man.
Yeah.
So just fact check every photo that you look at.
Yeah. The picture or video of the white Jeep like halfway stuck in the mud.
That's not at Burning Man.
That's not at Burning Man. And I'm going to call them out. We're recording this almost 9 p.m. Central on Sunday. Earlier today, Consequence posted that white Jeep. It has been verified that is not at Burning Man. That is something that was posted months ago. So I wish some of these places would stop dogpiling and posting unverified things.
Right.
Like, that's just lazy and irresponsible. And I'm seeing it from so many places. And people are just running with it on social media and be like, hey, look at these jerks at Burning Man. Aren't they getting what they have?
I think that's what kind of made me a little frustrated, because it was just like, look at these rich people at Burning Man. Ha ha. It's like, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah. So I urge you to read a little bit more and actually hear from people that are there. There's a great Burning Man Discord, Reddit, Facebook groups. Don't just read the news, because a lot of these places that are kind of sort of more or less tabloids are just running with this because they know that they're getting a lot of clicks out of it because people want to participate in that kind of, what's the German word? Schadenfreude? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing that. And it's kind of not cool. Like Sharla and I have been mentioning, there's a lot of normal people there that in some cases save up all year and make this their one vacation. And it's a bummer that what they thought was going to be a great time just turned into
this is no different. Some people save up and they take their family to Disney. Some people save up and they go down to the Gulf for a week. This is some people's down to the Gulf for a week.
Yeah.
People, choose to have different experiences in life.
Well, let me give you an example, and I won't call her out by name, but there is a lady that is there right now, and I saw her post on Facebook. She's okay. She's keeping in pretty good spirits. This has been her dream for years and years. I talked with her a couple months ago. She was getting advice from me about what worked for us, what didn't work for us. And she got in with the group and helped build things, hauled it all the way across the country from here in Huntsville, and was there for maybe 2 or 3 days before it rained and turned into what it is. And I promise you, this lady is not the sparkle pony that we talked about. She does not want to be. She's very much like an engineer that just wanted to go there and build things and see what everybody else was building. She had been wanting to do this for 20 years, and she went, and it turned into this. So I really feel for her, and I hope that she gets to go again to see what a good dry Burning Man is like.
Right.
So don't think of all of these rich a-holes. Think of people like that.
Do you know how hard people work to build those structures out there?
Yeah.
It
is the coolest thing.
Insane.
If you're a longtime listener, you've heard us talk about Dave and Richard in the Monkey Bar, and you probably have visited at some point too if you've come to see us at the bus or something. Burning Man is like a big city of monkey bars. It's just good, caring people that are building something for everyone to participate in. And they never ask for anything in return. In fact, all they ask is for you to hang out or do something cool for someone else. That's kind of the currency of that place. There is no money there.
Right.
Everything is just handed out. All that they want from you is for you to just be a good citizen at Black Rock City and do something cool for someone else. I know that you're going to see a lot of supposed crankiness or people acting like jerks, but you kind of have to be there to experience it for yourself. That's just kind of like a long-standing, silly tradition there. Everybody has kind of a really thick skin because it's harsh conditions. So they just do that to play around with one another and kind of, I mean, I hate to say this, gatekeep in a way, because they don't want the Coachella crowd coming there, you know?
Well, they don't want someone coming there that can't survive.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you are seeing a lot of people surviving. A lot of the veterans have been preparing for something like this for years and years and years. They're okay. It's not the drastic, dire emergency that a lot of people are trying to make it out to be. And I think a lot of the press is being very silly trying to paint it up as that.
Right.
Do you have anything else? I think I've spoken my piece.
We covered it.
Yeah, that does cover it. All right, Charlotte, let's take a quick break and thank our Patreons.
Ooh,
and
yes.
I think we got something fun when we come back, too.
Yes.
Okay, so we're actually recording this part on the morning of September 4th, so happy Labor Day if you're listening to this on the day that it releases. Remember that we have a 40-hour work week for a reason, so go unions. That's a big Labor Day thing, right? Anyways, I wanted to record this a day later so we could get any updates on what is going on at Burning Man. And from what I had seen this morning on some of the Discord channels and Facebook groups, it looks like it's getting way better over there.
Looks like it cleared up a little bit overnight. There was also something that came out that said the president had been briefed on the situation at Burning Man. Well, guess what? He's briefed on everything.
Yeah. They probably briefed him on the Philly score. He's a big fan. Yeah.
Right. He gets briefed on everything that happens. So
I wouldn't read too much into that.
That's not even like a thing.
But yeah, from what I had seen in photos and videos this morning, it looks like it has cleared up. The sun has come out. It's starting to dry up. People that wanted to leave have gone through a little bit of a struggle so far, but it's going to get easier as more people get out of there. And it looks like they're actually going to burn stuff tonight. They're going to burn the man this evening, and I think they're going to burn the temple at midnight.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
It looks like it has dried up enough for it to actually burn and for them to get supplies out there that they need.
I did not see that part. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so they actually will have a burn, so it's
not totally
a
a photo
waste.
where someone built a tiny little man and was burning it.
That was
yesterday.
pretty good. I think someone burned one on the actual beach that it started out at.
Oh, that's cool.
In the 80s, yeah.
I did see photos where people were making not snowmen, but mudmen.
Well, I saw a lot of sculptures of
Yes.
mud things. There were some very phallic things that were built out of mud.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, not at all. They're very resilient over there. That's kind of the whole point. That's what I was saying. Like, they know what they're doing. They got this. Anyways, this segment is mainly to thank our Patreons.
Yes,
we
yes,
had
yes.
already talked about what we're doing with the nonprofit. So, Sharla, you want to list our names for this week?
Yes. Okay, we've got Samuel, or Sam. That's who's helping us find a spot in Nashville.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Yes. All right, we've got Austin, Madeline, James, Daria, Chelsea, a.k.a. Hygiene Queen, Ryan, Rebecca, Chris, Skylar, Daniel, Ernst, Bill, Harris, Keith, Casey, Chloe, Rose, Amanda, Aaron, Nick, Maddie, McFerg, Kent, Randy, Greg, Eric and Ben.
Oh, shout out to them for coming to see me.
Yes. Evan, Jay, Chloe Hannon, and Sean McCarthy.
All right. Thanks, everyone. You can find that at patreon.com/Rebus. And after we implement the new name, the URL of that may change. I've got to see if we can do that. There's going to be a lot of things changing as we transition to that. You're going to be hearing a lot about it in the next couple of months. All right. Anything else before we go on to our unsurprising guest?
I think we've covered it.
All right. Let's go.
Special thanks to all of our Patreons, and now we have a guest on.
I was going to kind of troll him a little bit and say this was a surprise guest. He says it's not surprising. So we have an unsurprising guest. Who is that?
Hello, it's me, JB.
I messed with him when we started this voice channel on Discord. I was like, John Bradley. I'm just going to keep making up things that the JB stands for.
Hey, I introduced myself just so people understand. If I mumble it, it sounds like Jamie, so I always have to like specify that it's JB. So I'll say, like Justin Bieber, Johnny Bravo, Jack Black, just kind of a few ones I'll go with.
Oh, yeah. I think within
then,
Tenacious D, he like goes as like, what, Jables or something like that?
Who does? Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah. Did you see that they're actually playing over at the Franklin Amphitheater south of Nashville? It may have actually already happened. I wish I'd heard about that sooner. I kind of would have liked to have gone.
I did not hear that. I would have loved to go too. Let me double check.
That is one of my biggest regrets of that Bonnaroo that got called off because we were supposed to have the D, Tenacious D there. And I feel like we've got to get them back at some point. That would be so much fun. It would be similar to that Lonely Island show that we had late night. What was it, back in 2019?
Oh, yes.
That was so much fun. That was a little before your time, wasn't it, JB?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, probably.
So it was so cool.
Tenacious D has not happened yet. That happens Thursday.
This Thursday?
This Thursday.
Ooh, I wonder if I can make a run up there. I might have to check tickets for that. See how much they are.
I know I will not be able to just because with for those who don't know, I am a big college sports fan, and so so usually I can't really go in the middle of the week and then because my weekends just closed off for football. So really this would be traveling Thursday to Nashville, then Friday to Starkville. That would suck.
Yeah, speaking of college football, we've both got the LSU and Florida State game on, and they just tied it at 17, like literally when we started recording this.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be wild. Oh, wait. Okay. So, JB, since we're talking about that, just for a quick, brief moment, because this is not a sports podcast, give us your outlook on college football now that it's started. Who's going to be the team to beat this year?
Ooh, it's tough. I think Georgia's obviously going to be the best team overall. They've been the two-time national champion. It's really, until further notice, they're probably the top dog.
No pun intended.
And they probably, huh?
You said the top dog. I was like, no pun intended.
Oh, no pun intended. Yeah. With that, and also their schedule is ridiculously easy. I think they're probably going to be the one that's going to be the toughest. But LSU is a good team. A lot of the SEC is tough. Ohio State kind of struggled a little bit. But I think they should be a good team. Colorado. Did y'all see any of that Colorado game from yesterday?
No, literally, just a little bit of this LSU and Florida State game is all I've seen because I've been watching Braves baseball so much since they're playing the Dodgers.
Keep an eye on Colorado. Right now, they've hired their new head coach. As primetime Deion Sanders.
Oh yeah, speaking of the Braves, yeah.
Yep, and so he is coaching. His son's the quarterback. Just threw 510 yards against TCU, who was the national runner-up last year. They're not the same team, obviously, but Colorado has made a huge impact, and Travis Hunter plays both wide receiver and cornerback. Had over 100 yards in receptions and two picks. It's almost unheard of. Really, I mean, this is probably the best player in college football in a long time that's not a quarterback that really that's playing both sides of the ball that should be the Heisman candidate, in my opinion. But this is week 1, so anything can happen in the next few months.
Thank you, JB. That is a very comprehensive look. I feel like we need to have segments on the show now, kind of like on the evening news. Like, you just gave us the sports report. Now we've got to cut to somebody for the weather report or something.
It's like that Family Guy segment, just now, what was the weatherman's name? He's like, it's raining sideways.
It's going to rain, yeah. That's the weather report. Well, we talked about the rain at Burning Man, so I think that's appropriate for this week.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, we talked about that in the first half of the show. Oh, have you been looking at some of the news about that? Have you seen the pictures and stuff?
I've seen a little bit. I've heard it rained really bad and there were cars stuck.
Oh,
but that's pretty much the extent that I've heard.
Oh, man. Well, you'll have to listen to this whole episode when it publishes. We had many thoughts on that since we went last year. Oh, boy, yeah. It's a mess, but not nearly as bad as most people are saying. All right, JB, hang on just for a few minutes. I think we're going to start wrapping up and do our weekly picks, and we're going to have Sharla go first.
Okay, so I really, really like the new Old Crow Medicine Show album.
Oh.
It actually dropped on August the 25th, which was the same day that Zach Bryan also dropped his new album.
Big day for Sharla.
Yes, there was a new album from Turnpike Troubadours that same day, and a new album from Morgan Wade around that same time.
I can never forget how the Turnpike Troubadours played our plaza literally right in front of the bus. I didn't realize they were that big of a deal until after the fact.
Right? Well, anyways, Old Crow, they've had, so many albums, so many great albums. I wasn't really a fan of their last album, their last couple of albums, just for me personally, they've been great, but for me personally, I wasn't a fan. The songs were kind of draggy for me. This album, I absolutely love. It sounds so much like their older stuff. There's so many good upbeat songs and just so many good true bluegrass songs in there. I love it, and I've been listening to it on repeat in the car, and I just really, really like it, and they are overdue for a return to the farm.
Oh, heck yeah. How long has it been now? Since 2018?
It's been quite a while. I don't know if something happened, but they were coming very, very often, and then I haven't seen them in a while, so I don't know why they haven't been back.
Well, I talk to Ketch every once in a while, and I had asked him about a year ago if they were going to get back to Bonnaroo last year, and he said that the scheduling just didn't work out. They love it, so maybe they'll be back this year.
They are definitely due for a
I haven't talked to him in forever. But yeah, I really hope so. I hope we'll get him back. The last album from them I really, really loved was Carry Me Back, and that was almost a decade ago now. Yeah.
We need to listen to this new one because it's good.
I'm biased because we've known her for forever, but I feel like the last couple of albums, they were trying to be a little too mainstream. I love them when they're kind of like the bluegrass punk band that they really are.
Right, and that's what this album is.
Okay, awesome. And what was the name again? Jubilee?
Jubilee is the name of the album. There's
been a ton of stuff along those lines lately from them and Zach, and I feel like, wasn't there a Jason Isbell album not too long ago too? Or am I misremembering that? Anyways, all right, so any other picks from you?
That's
yours? Mm-hmm. All right, I have one that I can't believe that I haven't talked about the past couple of weeks. One of my favorite shows of all time is back for the third time, I think. Futurama is on Hulu. There's a whole new season, and it feels like it never left. It doesn't feel like any of the voices have changed. It doesn't feel like the quality of the writing has changed. It's not like super top tier Futurama, but it's somewhere along the middle. It's just good, solid Futurama. A lot of fun sci-fi stories that are kind of commenting on what the hot topics are these days. There's been 4 or 5, 6 episodes so far, and it feels like it never left, and it has come back and has been resurrected 2, 3, 4 times now. I've lost count. It's been on for 20 years. It just comes and goes. It's like Halley's Comet. Every once in a while, there's going to be a new Futurama. They haven't really publicized it a lot. I think a lot of people don't even realize that it's back. So go watch a few of the new episodes. I think you'll love it.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was back. I'd heard that Hulu had bought it and they were making something. I didn't know it was already made.
Oh, yeah, it's on. It's been going. See? JB, you're a plugged-in modern man. I feel like you would have known that if they were publicizing it better.
I should have.
Yeah.
And that's one I should have because I love Futurama, or the past seasons of Futurama, so I need to catch up. I've seen it advertised. I just thought it was getting popular, kind of like when, months ago on Netflix, they were just suddenly advertising Suits. And you're like, there's no new episode there. I thought it was that same type of deal.
They're having to recycle all this content because of the multiple strikes, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
What's your pick for us this week, JB?
Oh, man. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to shout out the Rubus Discord on here just because there's a playlist made recently. There's a tweet a few days ago. Someone said, list your top 20 tracks for whatever mood, kind of just your top 20 tracks that you like, but you can only choose one artist, or each artist one time, so it has to be from 20 different artists. And a lot of people made their list, and then someone made a Spotify playlist with all the songs. So I've been listening to that playlist pretty much my drive
That's
to
awesome.
college football games. So it's been awesome. There's so much great music on this playlist. I think it's almost how many hours is on it? It's just under a day. It's just 23 hours, 38 minutes of music. But yeah, it's the top songs - Rubus playlist. It's it's got some great music.
Which Discord channel is that in? I forget.
I believe. Let me double check to see if it's. I think it's an off topic. I may be wrong.
That sounds about right. Charlotte, can you go pin that playlist for us so if anybody hears that pick from JB, they can go find it?
I will,
Good call,
Let me double
JB.
check. Yeah, it was just such a cool playlist. Or I can send a link to the playlist.
That'll work. We'll get it out to
let
everyone.
me get that.
I'm looking in that off-topic channel right now, and it reminded me something that we have to shout out. There's a wonderful picture of Jimmy Buffett jamming with Kermit the Frog in there. We just learned about him yesterday. They did a whole tribute on the What podcast. You should totally go listen to that. But yeah, Jimmy came to the farm, one of the chillest guys that ever lived. Anybody that's been around the Keys probably knows him all too well. Charlotte, I have never been to the Keys, but you have. He's pretty much an eternal presence down there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's basically if Jimmy Buffett was an island.
If he was if a person was an island,
I don't know how to say it other than
he is the Keys. That's kind of a bonus pick for everyone. I think we have talked about this before, but you got to go watch this movie, The Beach Bum, with Matthew McConaughey. Jimmy is in that movie in one of the most ridiculous, lovable scenes everywhere of any movie. I won't say much, but there's this wonderful scene with Matthew McConaughey's character, Snoop Dogg, and Jimmy Buffett on a boat. And man, if only life could be that awesome. That'd be a good time. So everybody pour out your margarita in honor of Jimmy. JB, anything else from you this week?
Not much. I think just go out there, radiate positivity.
Hey, you stole my line. Very good one, JB. I think we can end it there for this week. Charlotte, anything else from you?
no.
Nah.
I have to think about it.
I had to think about it. Nope. I think that's a good call, JB. Yeah, get out there and radiate positivity. We'll see you in a few weeks.
All right, see you later.